traders. Welcome to today's Market Sit Rep. Whiz, primary model portfolio and weekly options model portfolio manager here at TGO. And folks, it's bizarro world. Here we go again. The president showing incredible leadership. Again, has a press conference yesterday, gets in front of the nation and pokes Republicans. This is apparently what unity is called. This is leadership by press conferences. It's going to get ugly, folks. So we had the fiscal cliff train wreck. Now we're going to have the debt ceiling train wreck. The man stood up there and said, hey, I know I've blown through my credit card limit. I want it raised. And oh, by the way, I'm not going to cut a nickel of spending. Try and do that with Citicard, folks, or whoever you have a credit card with. Yeah, I know I'm through my my credit limit. I want you to raise it. And oh, by the way, I'm actually going to increase my spending. That's the world we live in, folks. It's bizarro world. I weep for our country. I weep for my children and my grandchildren that this is the nation we've become. And let's take a little trip down memory lane. You ready? Here you go. Since the media won't do this, do their job. Back in 2006, let me quote a wise man. You ready? The fact that we are here today to debate raising America's debt limit is a sign of leadership failure. It is a sign that the U.S. government can't pay its own bills. I therefore intend to oppose the effort to increase America's debt limit. Senator Barack Obama from the great state of Illinois. Got it. So, and again, you're not going to see that on the 6 o'clock news. The media loves the press conference yesterday wasn't even softballs. They were cotton balls tossed by the press to their king. This is horrible, folks. It's horrible for our nation. We can't pay our bills, right? The president hasn't had a nickel in deficit reduction. Right, so apparently a $4 trillion deficit under Bush was unpatriotic, but now we're going on 16, or the president's racked up his own 8, a $16 trillion deficit, and it will be at 20 by the time this man's done. I'll leave it at that. Very, very bad for our country and for the markets. Let's take another trip down memory lane. Last time we had this debt ceiling debate, there it is right there, July 29th. Market 1340 something down to 1122ish. Wow. Last time, Boehner, the head of the Republicans in the House, Speaker of the House, dug his heels in and said, Mr. President, we're not raising your credit limit, and we need some deficit reduction. Market imploded. We lost our AAA credit rating. Embarrassment. And it was mass hysteria, right? This time around, based on the debt ceiling or the fiscal cliff debacle, the Republicans totally got destroyed. They got devastated. I thought that was going to be their shining moment to stand up and say, this is a defining moment in our nation's history, whether we're going to be a beggar nation or not. And they folded like a cheap suit. I think Boehner and Mitch McConnell, this is their Guadalcanal. I mean, this is their last stand. And it's going to be very contentious. Let's take a look at this. So there's the S&P 500. I want to compare what the S&P 500 did to this puppy, the VIX. What happened to volatility last time we went through this thing? So as the market corrected 12%, look at volatility. It went up 133%. Now, past performance is no indication of future results. Duh. But I think it's going to be worse this time. I really do think we will have some sort of government shutdown. Now, of course, the Republicans will pass something like Social Security payments, and the military will continue to get paid. Because we could talk about this right now. The president's going to go out there and scare seniors. You're not getting your Social Security checks. It's going to be demagoguery, right? It's going to be bad, and it's just sad. It's just so sad that that's going to happen to our country. But guess what? We're ready for it. I just did a live trade brief. Here's our model portfolio, primary live trade brief, folks, here at Top Gun Options. We've had, 11, 13 trading days in January. We're up $13,400, $500. Up a nice nearly $3,000 today. It's nearly $1,000 a day. So good 2013 so far in our model portfolio. But like I said, And for example, we have a VIX double vertical spread, a very bullish trade on volatility that what happened last time is going to potentially happen this time. Even if it's not as bad or if it's as worse, we got a couple trades on that are going to print money like you read about in Washington's A Clown Car magazine. Okay? What else is going on in the world? Again, the hypocrisy is deafening. And so is the lack of attention the media has paid to it. A lot of economic reports this morning. Core retail sales, which is obviously ex autos, which doesn't, it's the change in total value of sales at the retail level, excluding autos, actually went up, right? PPI, a little inflation measure, right, that impacts some of our GLD or gold positions. It's a leading indicator of consumer inflation. Obviously, when producers charge more for goods and services, who do they pass those costs on to? So that actually going down is a good thing. Retail sales, again, with core retail sales went up. Core PPI down a little bit. This kind of is a little bit of a shocker. You know, whether it's the Chicago Fed, the Richmond Manufacturing Index, the Philly, the Empire State Manufacturing Index, that is a ginormous blow. Now, again, everybody on Comedy Central and the media always, Sandy, you know, still people having some tough time as a result of Sandy, but it's funny that they're still throwing around the Sandy stuff with hitting stuff. I wonder how long that's going to go on for. Business inventories unchanged. Tomorrow, folks, some more. We got core CPI, CPI, long-term Treasury. This one's interesting, folks. This is the trade balance, right? This data represents the balance of domestic and foreign investment. So we're going to take a look at how we're going out of the country and coming in. Cap utilization rate, industrial production, and housing. Housing also continues the rest of the week with where it is housing starts, right, and building permits. So we're going to see if those green shoots, quote unquote, of the real estate market are continuing. Obviously, Thursday we always have weekly unemployment claims. The Philly Fed. Let's see if it matches the Empire State and whether or not that's getting shellacked. And then Friday, all important, University of Michigan consumer sentiment. How's the consumer feeling? And also inflation expectations, okay? So busy week, not only as far as financial data, but what? Earnings. We have a slew of banks reporting earnings. And in our father's stock market, financials tended to lead us into and out of a recession. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these banks, American Express, Bank of America, Capital One, how all these big guys are reporting. There are some regional banks in there as well. State Street, PNC. So we're going to see at the national level, at the heavy level, and also at the regional level, exactly how healthy banks are. We saw Wells Fargo report the other day, last week, and their net interest margin, banks borrow money. Cracks me up to say that, but banks borrow money, right? And they loan it out for houses and stuff like that. So the margin between what they borrow money at and what they're loaning at went down, at least at Wells Fargo. And that's a pretty big freaking bank, folks. So it's going to be interesting to see if, as Wells Fargo goes, the financials go. Okay, so a lot of stuff going on in the markets. We're having a blast here at Top Gun Options. Trading, like I said, nice $3,000 gain in this primary live trade brief model portfolio, $13,500 gain. Our weekly options model portfolio, this thing's awesome. This one's taking it, and I'll show you. I mean, we're the first to, I'll show you whenever we're not doing well, but look at this. Our weekly options model portfolio is up about $17,000 since the middle of December. That's when we launched our new trading weekly options service, and we're averaging about $3,000 to $3,500 a week in profits. Now, let me pull this up real quick. Like I said, we're taking on that. We have a GLD, a gold iron condor. Gold's catching a nice little bit of a rally today, up $1.50. I just needed to stay below 162.5 by Friday expiration. And in weekly options world, a day is a lifetime. But look at this. Since we started this thing, let me go from inception, which I said was December 11th or 12th or something like that. Look at that, $17,000 in gains. And we're only risking $10,000 a week. If everything went to hell in a handbasket, the maximum loss, if I bumped my head and didn't manage these positions and send out trade alerts and update my traders, the most we could lose is $10,000. So in 5 weeks, we've risked about $50,000 total, right? And on $50,000 risk, our return on risk is over $17,000. That's pretty freaking cool. I don't care how long you've been trading. Those are some pretty serious returns. And again, people lie, numbers don't. You can see it for yourself. There's let me just to show you that we started in the middle of December. I'll just go from December 1st and show you. Same return. So we started the middle of December through today as I'm making this video. And again, taking a little bit on the chin today. Year to date, look at that, up $6,000. But we're down $1,300 on this GLD position. Been trading the heck out of Apple. Apple's getting it on the chin today too. Apple fatigue is really starting to set in, and it's not going to be good for Apple. Okay, got to go. Got some coaching sessions to do. Got some more trading to do. Having a great time here at Top Gun Options. If you want to take a test flight of our weekly option service, which is brand new, go underneath services, click on weekly options, or you can just, like in the old days, back in my day, the internet, we used to type this stuff into our address bar, topgunoptions.com/weekly-options, okay? And you can scroll down and click take a test flight like hundreds of other traders have done, and they're having an absolute blast in our weekly option service. Okay, got to run. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll see you tomorrow in another one of our